The update we've all been waiting for has finally arrived on Bedrock Edition. 1.20.30 is here, and it brings so many changes. This is the biggest Bedrock update that we've had in quite a long time. We got crawling being added, big villager changes and bug fixes, more diamonds in your Minecraft world, recipe unlocking, one player sleep, block breaking changes, and hundreds of bug fixes. Let's start off with the fun stuff, and for me, that of course means throwing myself away on a composter, because now we got crawling on Bedrock Edition, where you can just put down yourself a trapdoor, flick that trapdoor, and then bam, you're crawling. This is one of the biggest features that we've been missing for literally years. This also means that we now have a super easy way of mining on Bedrock Edition called dive mining. Previously, you would have to use a water bucket for this, but now you just place down a trapdoor, and bam, you can go mining. Now, keep in mind that Swift Sneak on your pants will make you crawl faster, so you're going to want to get a pair of Swift Sneak pants. Basically, the best way of getting diamonds in Minecraft. Also increase the amount of diamonds that generate at the deeper deep slate levels. We don't know by how much, but it's only a matter of time before we find out. We also have some changes to the you died screen. So now when you die, it zooms out. That way you can see how you die. You'll also notice that your hotbar and all of that stuff is still visible. And there's also a new game menu button. This allows you to go to the pause screen. And I guess now you can change your skin while you die. But this also allows you to go change some game settings if you just need to. But then when you hit resume game, it takes you back to the death screen. So if you want to leave the game, now you got to press 2 buttons, which is actually a little bit better because then you got to really intend on rage quitting. It also makes rage quitting just that little bit more frustrating, and I'm all here for it. The massive changes to librarians and armorers have arrived in experimental mode, so now you can try these out without having to be in a beta. If we go into our world settings, as you can see, there's now a new toggle for villager trade rebalancing, so you can try this out. If you don't know what I'm talking about, or you just need a refresher on these changes, check out my videos. I have one dedicated to librarians and another one dedicated to armor smiths. The big trading changes are still in experimental, however, we have a few bug fixes and changes that will affect you right now, so you can no longer repeat cure a bunch of villagers to get higher and higher discounts from them, which means that this thing and things like it are now officially broken. Thanks, Mojang, you broke another one of my farms. So now you'll need to cure multiple different villagers. If you just cure the same one multiple times, you're not going to get any real benefit out of that. So this guy currently has 23 and 15 as his discounts, and if we cure this guy, we'll see if that affects anything. So I just cured that guy a couple times, and yep, absolutely no change to this guy's discounts whatsoever. So the repeat curing doesn't affect the villager being cured or other ones in the area. This guy has been cured multiple times now. They even fixed zombie spawners spawning zombie villagers. So zombie spawners can no longer give you a bunch of repeat discounts. They can only give you one discount via summoning one zombie villager. You can still stack hero the village and the villager curing discounts, however, so definitely get yourself a raid farm. Otherwise, the era of 1 emerald trades is behind us for the most part. They also fixed the bug where villagers would drop the item that they were holding when you kill them, but did they fix it for wandering traders? They did not! Go kill some wandering traders. This is arguably way more useful. And now we got a bunch of changes to the recipe unlocking, recipe crafting, recipe searching. Basically, everything having to do with crafting has a bunch of changes to it. So first up is the recipe unlocking. Whenever you get a new material into your inventory, that's going to unlock all the relevant recipes. Now, as you can see, it's only going to show you recipes that you've already unlocked in these little tabs right here. So there's not really anything here. However, if you go over to the search bar, this is where you can look for, like, you know, redstone torch, for example, and that'll show you all of the recipes, even ones that you haven't unlocked yet. And of course, you need to go to the crafting table for any recipes that require a 3x3 crafting grid. So if you don't remember exactly what materials you need to craft a campfire, this is how you can find that out. And then you go collect those and you'll unlock the recipe, etc. So for existing Minecraft worlds, the recipe unlocking is going to be turned off by default, but whenever you go to create a new world, this is going to be turned on. And you can turn this on or off whenever you want. It doesn't affect anything. This isn't even a cheat, so you can turn this off in your survival worlds. There's also an optional game rule associated with this, and that is do limited crafting. If you set this to true, you won't be able to craft anything that you haven't unlocked the recipe for. So for example, I can't craft a boat right now because I haven't unlocked the recipe for that. And you unlock that recipe by going into water. So now that I've gone in water, I can craft the boat recipe. Now, most of the time, I don't think this is going to affect anything because you need to gather the resources to craft it, and by gathering the resources, you would unlock the recipe. There's also been some slight changes to the search bar, so whenever you search for something, it's only going to match the first part of the word. So if you search a tor, it's only going to show torch and redstone torch. It's not going to show, like, daylight detector, for example. One player sleep has also been added to Bedrock Edition and Vanilla Survival. So now we have a new game rule called player sleeping percentage, and you can change this to whatever you want. If you set it to 100, then every player needs to sleep, and that is the default. But you can also set this to 0%, and then as soon as anybody clicks on a bed, it is going to allow them to skip the night. So no longer will you have to wait on your friends. If you set this to more than 100%, then you cannot skip the night even if everybody sleeps. And this is a vanilla survival game rule as well. This world has achievements enabled, as you can see here. It's just a regular survival world, and you can actually type these things into the chat if you are the owner or something. So yeah, now you get one player sleep in your vanilla survival worlds without needing an add-on. Keep in mind it doesn't autocomplete, so you have to actually type all of this into the chat manually. Mojang has also changed the block breaking speed for 188 different blocks in Minecraft, along with their blast resistances. Now, for most blocks, it doesn't really matter that much, but scaffolding can now be instantly broken just by punching it with your hand, which is amazing! We've needed this for thousands of years on Bedrock Edition. Pistons can now be mined faster if you have a pickaxe. As you can see, this is so much nicer. If you have haste, you can actually instant mine these things as well. Mojang is still deciding what to do with the obsidian mining speed, because it is way faster on Bedrock Edition than it is on Java, which I personally like. This thing shouldn't be so slow to mine. And not saying that just because I crafted 1,000 beacons recently. Shulker boxes can also be mined significantly faster by hand now. There are still literally hundreds of bug fixes and changes in this update. However, I'm going to show you the ones that I think are most important to your gameplay. So villagers will no longer be able to get a profession while they're sleeping in a bed. For the most part, this shouldn't really affect anything, but it might affect your village stacking with your raid farms or your iron farms, or it might just make it so that you actually need to sleep in order to set up the rest of your villager trading hall. Mojang is working hard when it comes to removing gravity block duplication glitches, so gravity blocks will now break when they fall on top of cocoa beans or when they fall on top of boats, but they don't break when they fall on top of drip leaves, so this duplication method still works perfectly fine. Maybe it's more like hardly working. I made a full video on this, by the way, if you're curious, so check it out. Links are everywhere. Pink petals can finally be bone mealed by a dispenser to give you a lot more pink petals, and this has been broken literally since 1.20 released. You know what isn't fixed though? Cherry leaves preventing any and every type of sapling from being grown. As you can see, they still don't grow. And I don't know, but this seems like a pretty big bug that should maybe be fixed sometime, since it's been broken since 1.20, and I'm really just trying to release a cherry tree farm, guys. Speaking of cherries, pillager outposts will now be able to generate and cherry grove biomes. There's also been dozens of audio bug fixes to a variety of different things. As you can see, there is a lot of stuff here. Some bad news for some of you mobile players. We have a couple more discontinuations happening. iOS 12 is being discontinued in February of 2024, so you'll need to upgrade to iOS 13 or get a newer device. So keep in mind, if you're playing on an older iOS or Android device, you'll stop getting Minecraft updates in February of 2024. You'll probably still be able to play, but it's not going to be a supported version anymore. If you liked today's video or learned something new, then drop a like and consider subscribing to help us reach 600,000 subscribers.